Hi everyone, thank you very much for watching this video and for subscribing to my channel. So I got a request from a few subscribers to make a video to show the initial setup of the Falcon Player. So this is what we're going to talk in this video. But before we go through all the setup, what I want to do is show you really briefly what the Falcon Player is about. As you know, we use the Falcon Player to pretty much run the show. You can upload your files, you can put them in certain order, you can schedule the timing of when you want your show to start and stop. So let me show you a few things here that I have on the Falcon Player. So first of all, I get to it using its IP address. In this case for me is 10.0.0.100, and this is the first screen that pops up. Basically, this is just a summary page. It tells you what's going on with the controller. Right now, it just says that the Falcon Player is running. The Falcon Player daemon is running on the back. We got the time, and right now it's idle. Nothing is going on. Nothing is playing right now. Now, we have sections such as the network section where we set up the network. We'll get into this later in this video. We have the configuration to set up, the timing and stuff like that. You can back up your files, but the most important part is the output setup and the content setup. Let me start with the output setup. So we got input channels and output channels. We're going to set up the output channels because those are the channels that are going to go through our Falcon controller. And basically, if you recall from my video, if not, go ahead and watch where we do our initial Falcon Player setup, is that, well, we have universe as well. And we're going to tell them, guess what, that we have 96 universes of 510 channels each. And what we're doing is we actually telling where is our controller, the IP address of our controller. In this case for me is 10.0.1.85. so this is where all these packages are going to be sent, which makes me think that we can have different controllers, right? And we can probably send some data to another controllers. I'm just going to ping it. Right now my Falcon controller is also plugged in, is running, and it came back, so that means that we have communication. It is finding it. Now let me go back. Let me go to the content setup, the file manager. Here is where we have our files stored. These are the sequence that I have uploaded from my X.L.E.Ds. I have I Really Can Stay, Let Us Know, Rocking Around, White Christmas. So this are the sequence that we have. We also have the audio files. These are the MP3 that actually our sequence uses. I have the music. So we have Let Us Know, we have Michael Bublé, It's Cold Outside, All I Want for Christmas Is You, and such and such. So this is where we store our files as well. And later on, we'll go through the setup of how to upload all these files to your controller. So this is the file manager. We have playlist, which is nothing but a set of sequence that you give it a name, and then that's your playlist. In this example, I have only one playlist, which is Christmas 2019, and it has all this music in there. And this is just one playlist. So if I go back to my, and one more thing, the scheduler. Right, so this is telling me that starting in December 11th until January the 3rd is going to play the Christmas playlist 2019 every day. You can choose different setups, starting at 5 o'clock and going to end at 9 o'clock. So this is what actually runs the show, right? In the status page, I can actually run it if I wanted to. I can just choose my playlist. Right now I only have one. All the music comes in here, and I can play it. I can repeat it if I want, meaning that will go on and on and on. And I'm gonna just click play, and it's playing right now. is playing the first list, the first music in the list, and is the remaining time, how many elapsed time that we have. And right now the show is running. I can stop it gracefully, which means it's gonna stop it until this song ends, or I can just stop it right now and it will just stop. So I'm gonna stop it and nothing's showing anymore. So basically this is what the Falcon Player is. So let's jump into the next section. I want to show you the basic layout of our networking. We have two options and you're gonna have to decide which one you want to go. So let's watch the next clip. Okay, so here we have a diagram of two possible network layouts for our show. So let me go with the first one, which is the easiest one, but not the best one. So this is what I'm showing. So you have a Wi-Fi router. You have your Wi-Fi, from your provider, and you have your computer, which talks to your router, right? And then the Falcon Player or the Raspberry Pi has a Wi-Fi. So once we set it up, you should see this device with this IP address, and you can actually just log into your Falcon Player. Now, we have also our Falcon controller. At the time of this video, this device also comes with a Wi-Fi. It has its own Wi-Fi, but it's not enabled so far. You can't use it at this point with a version of what's installed as a software. So sadly, you need to plug it to the back of your router using an Ethernet cable. It's a long Ethernet cable. So this is the first problem that you're going to run into is where are you going to set up your Falcon controller? Is it going to be in your garage? Then you will need to run an Ethernet cable from your router all the way to your garage. Are you going to put it outside your house? Well, you're going to have to run a cable from your router all the way to the outside of your house. It could be underneath your Christmas tree. And unfortunately, that's the way it has to be. And then you can just plug your lights straight from your Falcon controller. The data is going to flow from your Falcon Player through your router and into your Falcon controller. So basically, the data is going to be flowing like this. Now, there's the second option. This is a little bit more complex to set up, but I think is the best way. And this is actually the way I have my setup. So again, you have your Wi-Fi router, you have your computer, but now the Falcon Player, the Raspberry Pi, is going to serve as a secondary router. So it's going to play the same role as one of your Wi-Fi router. And obviously we have it's running the Falcon Player. And now, once you have this set up as a router, you can plug your controller using its Ethernet port, from the Raspberry Pi to your controller. So now you only have a cable, from this device to your controller. And this is why it's so small. I mean, it's real small. Can actually fit inside the casing of your Falcon controller. So that becomes a standalone unit. Obviously, it needs to be close enough to your wireless, right? I mean, chances are that your wireless is strong enough that it reaches outside your house, so you should be good, right? I don't have it outside. I have it in my garage, but I don't have any cables now because now my computer, after a setup that we need to do your computer just to let your computer know that you have actually two routers or two networks now. You can reach your Falcon controller and your Raspberry Pi, your Falcon Player, together, just by using one IP address, no cables. This is just a standalone unit now. And like I said, it's you need to go through a small setup, but I think it's worth, So now when you can actually open your Falcon controller site, and go through the settings, and you can go and open your Falcon Player as well. Now, the downside of this is that both of them need to be turned on, obviously, if you want to get to your Falcon controller, because now this is the router. If this is off, well, you're not gonna get to your Falcon controller because this is routing the data through here. So now it's not gonna be, you're not gonna be able to connect through your Wi-Fi router. So just keep that in mind. Both devices need to be turned on at the same time, which is what we do, right? I mean, we run the show and we run the player and we run our Falcon controller. So you choose which one you want to do. You can start with the first one, which is an easy setup, but you need a long cable, and or go with the second option, which is making your Falcon Player to be a secondary router. So it's up to you. I will show you later in another video how to set up, how to do this setup, because it takes its time, right? But it's very simple. So now that we know which one you're going to use, and you don't need to choose one right now. The next clip is going to show how to configure your Falcon Player for the first time. So let's watch that clip now. So I have here the Raspberry Pi. This is an amazing device, you know, it's actually a small computer. So let me show you the ports. So we have an Ethernet port, 4 USB ports. On this side we have the audio jack. We have the HDMI connector to your monitor and the power. And on the bottom we have the SD card slot. This is where we're gonna insert our card once we set it up, you know, because we need to install the operating system and also the Falcon Player. Once this is set up, all we need to do is insert it and we're ready to turn it on, and we should see the Falcon Player website come up. So let's start with that part. Okay, so we're ready to start downloading the files that we're gonna need. We're gonna download two files. One of them is the Falcon Player software itself. Another one is called Balena Etcher. This etcher will allow us to extract that zip file from the Falcon Player, which has the operating system to boot the Raspberry and also load the Falcon Player. So let's download those two pieces of software. So let's start with the Falcon Player download. Let's go into releases, this one. 4.6 seems to be the latest one. So we're going to scroll down, and down here it says if you have the Raspberry Pi, Pi B plus, then we're going to download this one. If you have some other device, we're going to download the BBB. So we're going to download the P version. So we're going to click in here and it's downloading. So now let's move and download the Balena Etcher. For this we're going to click in here, and this, like I said, it will allow us to flash an OS image to the SD card. So we're going to download this version as well. This is for Windows 86 and 64-bit. So we just click in this one, and both files are being downloaded. So it seems like this is going to take a few minutes. So I'm going to pause the video right here, and then when it's finished downloading, I will just resume. Okay, so it's finished downloading both softwares. Go ahead and install the Balena Etcher. I'm not going to do that because I already have it installed. But just go through it's a very basic setup. You just click next, 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 and then you should have an icon on your desktop. Let's go into the Falcon Player image file. This is a downloaded, so this downloaded is compressed, is in the zip file. So I'm going to right click into it and I'm going to say extract all. It's going to extract it all to the download folder. So I'm going to do an extract, and this is going to take just a few seconds, looks like. So it's going pretty fast. Meanwhile, make sure that you have your SD card and you have the sleeve, and plug it in, insert it into your computer, because everything is going to be installed in this SD card. So I'm gonna put it into my computer. Okay, I'm gonna close this. So this is downloading. It's gonna take another minute or so. Again, I guess I'm gonna just pause the video because it's going slow. So see you guys in 1 minute. So it's done uncompressing that file. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start the balena etcher. I have it right here. So now we're gonna flash from a file. So downloads image, this is where it got unzipped, so I'm just gonna select that one, and it knows it's gonna go into the SD card. This one is a 16 gigabyte card. That should be more than enough. So now I'm just gonna click flash. So it's starting, and I think this is gonna take again a few minutes. Allow changes to your device, yes. Let's give it a minute, see what we get. Please insert a disk. It's already inserted. So here you go, it's flashing. So 2%, EDA 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Well, I'm sorry guys, but again, I'm gonna have to pause the video. I don't want to just leave you watching this bar go, right? So it's gonna take a few minutes. So once it's done, I will just resume the video. Okay, so our flash is complete. So now we have an SD card that has an operating system and a Falcon Player. So now we're gonna take it out of the sleeve, and we're gonna insert it on our Raspberry Pi. There we go, it's in. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug the Ethernet cord into the back of my router. And some of you are saying, wait a minute, didn't you say that this has a Wi-Fi antenna? Yes, it does. But since this is the first setup, it doesn't even know the name of our Wi-Fi, the password to our Wi-Fi, so it will not connect to our Wi-Fi for now. So that's why we need to plug it through our Ethernet port from here to the back of our router, and then we'll just plug it in, plug the power, and wait for about 3 minutes, because the booting sequence is kind of slow. It takes 3 minutes, and then we should be able to go into our browser and do the initial setup of the Raspberry Pi and the Falcon Player. So again, I'm gonna pause the video. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it into my router, and I'll be right back. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes. So let's open our browser. And let's type http fpp.local, and if everything goes fine, here we go, we have a Falcon Player website. Okay, so we got a warning saying SD card has unused space, go to storage setting to expand the file system. Okay, we'll do this before we end our video. So the next thing we're going to do is go into the input output setup. We're going to choose the channel outputs, and here we're going to configure our universes again, just like we did in the Falcon controller. They need to match on both sides. So this is how we're going to tell the Falcon Player all the data is going to flow to the Falcon controller. Now if you notice on the top, we got a connection via Ethernet of port IP address 10.0.0.100. So if you want to take note of this, this is your IP address through the internet, Ethernet. Later on, we're gonna set up the Wi-Fi, but first, let's go ahead and set up the universes. So we got an empty list. So the first thing we're gonna do is I found a bug in this page. So I'm gonna tell you how to avoid that bug. So first of all, we're gonna do just one universe. The first thing that I notice is that it's showing 512 channels per universe. If you recall from the video, the first time set up for the Falcon controller, we are using 510. So we're going to change this number to be 510. Also, we're going to tell them that is a unicast, and we're going to enter the IP address of our Falcon controller. Uh, So this is the settings of one universes. We know that we can control 96, so we still need to add a few more. So now the data is complete. This is the IP address, remember, where the Falcon is sitting. Okay, so you need to set up your Falcon controller first before you can talk, between each other. So we're gonna save it. It says that the Falcon Player daemon needs to be restarted, so I'm gonna restart it. Takes only a few seconds. After we've done this, I'm gonna refresh the screen on the top of the browser. Okay, so now it's being refreshed. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna say that I have 96 universes and click set. So now you notice that we have 96 universes, so we're good, and they're pointing to the same address, so the same controller. So this is the way it should be. The bug that I told you about is that if I have not refreshed the screen and I do the 96, this will come as multicast instead of unicast. So make sure that you refresh your page before copying to the rest of the universes. So now I can click save, and I'm gonna again restart the daemon. So now this should end the setup for our universes. So now we're done. Let's move into our network, because this has a wireless antenna, and right now it's not set up. So we're gonna set it up so we can then unplug our Ethernet cable, and we're good to go just using our wireless. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on the one interface, and I'm gonna fill the blanks down here of our Wi-Fi name. So I'm gonna click in here, and I know mine is named home, and I'm gonna type the password. I'm gonna update the interface, and now I'm gonna restart the network. It's gonna give me a warning that this will cause you to lose your connection. It doesn't matter. I'll click just yes. I'll give it a few seconds so that interface restarts, and I'm gonna just refresh my browser. And there you go. On the top now you have a wireless connection with an IP of 10.0.0.86, and we still kept our Ethernet connection, which is IP 100. So that's it. That's pretty much it. Now we have a working controller, a Falcon Player, wireless connection. We have our universes defined, and the last thing, we're gonna go into the status page, and we can do these settings because we need to use all the unused space in our SD card. Now this is going to ask me to restart the Falcon Player, so I'm going to end the video at that point. I was going to show you how to upload all the sequences and the MP3 files, but that's going to be another video, because again it's a long video and I don't want to mix both videos. This is the initial setup of the Falcon Player, and then the other video will be just uploading and playing a sequence from your Falcon Player. So let's go into the storage settings, go into grow file system, and growing your file system will require a reboot. So you want to proceed? Yes. So this is where I'm gonna just click yes and restart and end the video right here, and then I'll be uploading another video to show how you upload all those sequences. Okay, so again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked your video. If you have any questions, just throw me a comment. Okay, guys? Thank you very much for watching, and again, thank you for subscribing.